This is your Sunday show with your host, Brother Abu Mussa, and I go live on the studio from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Brothers and sisters, I hope that you're all well. It's been a few weeks since I've been on air, so I hope that everything's been well with yourselves, and hope wherever you are listening to this radio, I make dua for you, inshallah, you and your families, that all is well. And if you're going through any struggles or any hardships, please be patient, because of naturally any struggle that we have, any challenge that Allah gives us, there's always shifa in there and reward for us. And if you are going through any illness, disease or anything like that, again, be patient, ask for Allah. It's a beautiful time for you to draw close to Allah. Allah loves you, that's why He's put you through this difficulty that you're facing, and may Allah give you shifa, inshaAllah ta'ala. And please remember us in your du'as if you're listening as well, because we are trying to create content for you brothers and sisters out there to benefit you, educate you, and keep you informed of news and views that are going on around our community and at the larger and more of an international kind of state as well. So inshallah, I will kick off my usual mixed bag of information. As you're aware, generally a bit of quick review of the news that's been going on, and I'm going to go through a couple of articles before I start talking about some of the things that I want to discuss. And the first article that I want to just touch on is an article here from the Five Pillars website. It's the Global Wars, Israel, Gaza genocide drawing Britons towards Islam, a report finds. And we know, with the massacre and genocide that is going on with the brothers and sisters in Palestine, that the world is watching. The world is seeing what is going on. The world is recognizing a genocide taking place online. And the world is waiting for justice to take place, for some of these so-called international communities to rise up and to account these governments. But what we're seeing is quite the contrary. We're seeing governments protect, justify, and use the propaganda to vilify, to acknowledge what is going on, and not really kind of go beyond that. And of course, it's the main players that are the ones in question who need to question their morality, because they don't use morality. They don't use the morality that we as Muslims would use to measure right and wrong. Rather, their morality is built upon what they can attain and what benefit they can get. So their whole political ideology is very incorrect from the very premises. But that is a separate note that I will have. But anyway, going back to the article here, a study by a UK-based think tank has discovered that global wars has inspired many recent conversions to Islam, strengthening claims of an epic increase in conversions following Israel's genocidal war on Gaza. Researchers belonging to the Institute of the Impact of Faith in Life, the IIFL, said that this could support widespread claims of a rise in conversions to Islam amid the ongoing Israel-Gaza conflict. They use the word conflict here, I use it genocide. The IIFL surveyed 2,774 people who had experienced a change in religious beliefs after either coming to, changing or abandoning faith, and found that motivation and outcomes differ sharply by religion. According to the study, 20% of recent converts to Islam cited global conflict as a reason for their conversion, while 18% attributed their conversion to mental health reasons. Now, it's very interesting, brothers and sisters, when we look at a community, when we look at the Ummah, we see how the Ummah is constantly under scrutiny, is constantly being bombarded by some political ideology out there, be it the Muslim world, Muslim corrupt rulers, be it the Western hegemony of America, Britain, and Israel, or any other supporting nation. When they attack the Muslims, the resilience of the Muslims, the patience of the Muslims, the tawakkul of the Muslims, it sends a massive message out to the whole of the world that this ummah is not an ummah that is built upon a weak premise. Because when you look at societies and you see societies struggle, sometimes they might abandon and give up their beliefs. But you see how Islam and Muslims, they only become stronger in their beliefs, because they recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is the judge. He is the one who manages the affairs and regulates the affairs, and He is the best disposer of affairs as well. And this is reinforced constantly throughout this struggle. And as Muslims, subhanAllah, you see these people going through such oppression, such hardship, but yet they are not negative in their outlook. Rather, they are very, very kind of wanting to meet their Maker. They are very looking forward to meeting their Maker, and they want to ensure that they die a good death, that Allah is pleased with them when they go. And this has a profound effect upon society as a whole, because a non-Muslim society is watching these Muslims and is seeing how they're conducting their affairs in such hardships, in such struggles, in such difficult times. You know, members of families have lost their entire families. Their children have been killed. Their parents have been killed. Their husbands, their wives, they're losing their loved ones constantly. But yet, the strength and the firmness of those people have had a profound effect upon the wider society. So the author of the report noted that those who convert to Islam often do in search of purpose. Compared with Christian converts, they are 2.5 more times likely to be drawn to ritual, to display high levels of media skepticism, and to view the world as increasingly unjust. Taken together, these factors position Islam as a normative structural framework that offers discipline, moral clarity, and a sense of meaning in a world perceived as unfair. The study's findings appear to support claims circulating in the media regarding an increase in Islam conversions following Israel's bloody war on Gaza. The article here, written by 5 Pillars, is also reported on stories related to this phenomena, as Muslim scholars, dawah activists and masjid leadership across the UK testify they have witnessed increased interest in Islam and skyrocketing shahadas, which is interesting, brothers and sisters, and we should constantly remember that these are opportunities for us to increase dawah, to call people to Islam, to show the conviction and the firmness of Muslims, regardless of what they're going through. Because people might turn around and say, "Oh, but your community, the Muslim community is under attack all the time. Why is that? Why is this going on to you? Why are you oppressed? Why is this going on? If your God is Allah and He's truthful God, then why are you suffering, going through all these things?" And these are opportunities, brothers and sisters, to have dialogue and discussion about the belief of Islam, about the tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about the proof that Allah exists, about the whole concept of trials and tribulations, the struggles that man faces. And of course, for us, this life is a test. We are passing through this life as a traveller, and our objective and goal is what? Is to attain the success in the afterlife. And when you draw that whole analogy and you put that concept into a reality and discuss it with people, it opens their eyes. And many of these people live for this world, and they live for what is to come to them in this lifetime, and they don't have a thought beyond this world, because to them everything they see, they feel, they taste, everything that the senses kind of allow them to perceive is what is real to them, and beyond this realm they don't have any sight or foresight of that. And just to finish off this article, the Imam of the Mosque, Shakil Beg, told 5 Pillars that since October 2023, he had witnessed a significant rise in people visiting the Lewisham to ask about or to embrace Islam. And it's very well known, this Lewisham Mosque has had maybe over 1,000 conversions there. In the last year, I'd like to say the bulk of the people coming to embrace Islam have been white English. We used to see maybe 2 or 3 shahadas a week, but right now it seems to be happening for us daily. SubhanAllah. So this should be a sign of motivation for you, brothers and sisters. Not a sign of despair, not a sign of negativity, but a sign of motivation. It should inspire us. It should inspire me and you to catapult ourselves forward into society, and to put Islam on the front foot, not the back foot. Because if we have the truth, why are we ashamed or scared or hiding what we believe? We should share our belief, because what we believe in and what we want for ourselves, we should want for everybody else. And this is the gift that we can give to other people that are not from Islam, that are not Muslims, because what greater gift can you offer them? So subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us something amazing, and we should share that with others. But of course, we should share it in the best possible styles and use the best possible styles. We should think about how we address this community. What is the platform of dialogue that we should have with them. And it's important that we understand our audience when we address them, and we address them in the appropriate manners. So that was this article that I wanted to touch on. My second article that I just want to quickly go through is a tragedy that happened about 33 years ago now. In India, it was the Babri Masjid tragedy. I remember it very well when I was younger. I remember the destruction of it by the Hindu mobs, and this article basically touches upon that, and I just want to go through this as quick as I can. 3 decades on from today, Hindu mobs razed the historic Babri Masjid to the ground. India's Muslims still refuse to forget its legacy in a nation increasingly dominated by Hindutva nationalism. That underlying memory has become the powerful act of resistance, writes journalist Rushda Fatima Khan. And again, this article is from Five Pillars website, so you can find it on there and you can read it. Despite the construction of the new Ram temple, which the Hindus obviously felt that they had some kind of right over the Muslims, the extensive national media coverage surrounding its completion, the memory of Babri has not faded from the community's collective consciousness. The endurance itself reflects a form of resistance across societies. When communities are pushed aside or denied justice, their collective memory becomes sharper. Moments of rupture become reference points that organized political understanding. Memory evolves into a source of clarity in situations where the institutional environment does not deliver fairness. And it's interesting when you think about this, brothers and sisters, because when we talk about ideologies and we talk about nationalism, we talk about nations, a nation state is responsible for its citizens. And what we find here is we are finding nation states that have a very kind of racist kind of Islamophobic agenda. And we can see it in many parts of the world. India is an example. We also know about Bosnia, what took place there, and what we see is that is going on in Palestine as well. It shows you that how these states, they don't really look after their citizens, especially those of different religious minorities. And so India is a huge state, and you have the biggest population of Muslims in there, but are they being protected? You know, we've heard so many stories of Muslims being attacked by Hindu mobs there. You know, families being killed and destroyed, burned alive, and it's shocking stories that you hear. And it begs the question that what is the state doing to protect these religious minorities? I know from the time of the Prophet ﷺ and the Khilafah state, you know, there were conditions set in there that no Muslim, no community could attack any religious center, be that a church, be that a synagogue, be that a temple. You know, these places were places of worship that were protected by the state. The state had a responsibility. So, you know, the military there, the police there, the community there would protect those places. And if you had a feud with those communities, those communities, the feud that would take place would go through the judicial system. It wouldn't be something that you could take arms upon yourself and just start causing violence and what have you in that society. But we see these modern day societies, so-called modern democracies, they don't have that. And you see even how the politicians and the governments, they engineer and create these situations. So it's a shame to see that there's no real justice by those systems out there. So those are the couple of articles that I wanted to just touch on before I move on to my other talking point, which I want to talk about something that I experienced this week myself. How are we doing for time?
I'll start it again.
Okay, that's great. So I want to move on to my next subject. My next subject is something that I experienced a couple of weeks ago. I'd been on my mind for a while. I had contemplated it for many moons, actually, for many years. And I honestly don't know what delayed it, but sometimes, you know, life is such that you're constantly on the run, you're constantly on the go, and there are things that you want to do, but sometimes never get around to. So social media I will use as a catalyst, because, you know, brothers post things on there, and sometimes the posts do kind of make you think and make you act sometimes as well. And on this occasion I did act. And what was the act that you might want to know? It was cupping, the hijama. Yeah, you might say, oh brother, I'm surprised that you've never had cupping before, you know, given the fact that you have been involved in sports and fitness for so many years. Why now? I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think it's always been on my mind, and it's always been something that I've always questioned. You know, why haven't you had your cupping done yet? Because the reality is, brothers and sisters, that when we live throughout our lifetime, you know, the one thing that remains in us all the time is the blood and the circulation of blood. And you know, when we eat, whatever we drink, all the things that we consume, it obviously impacts the way our blood flows and how our blood circulates and the condition of our blood. And if you think about it, some of the diseases, illnesses, they can be carried within our blood as well. So blood flow, quality of blood is really critical for our general kind of health and well-being. So I'd kind of come to the conclusion that, you know what, I need to act upon this. So one of the brothers that I know, and I'm gonna give him a shout out actually, just for anybody who might be interested, is a local brother from Bradford. It's called Mr. Hijama on his social medias. You can find him on Instagram, you can find him on Facebook, and I think maybe he might have other platforms as well. But I will probably add a link on there on my social media if you're interested in contacting him and finding out more about the services that he offers, because there's multiple levels of service that he offers. But I'm just going to give a shout out to him, because Jazakallah khair, Brother Raheel, for coming to my house and doing the cupping that you did most excellently. He explained the whole process to me, talked me through it all, made me feel at ease. Of course, you know, if you've never done it before, it can be sometimes a bit of not a daunting experience, but it can be something that you might be thinking about in your head. And I think it's good to have somebody who knows what they're doing and knows the process, can explain the process to you and make you at ease. The interesting thing that I will say, brothers and sisters, and maybe those of you that are obviously aware are aware, I do recall that when I was going through the cupping, of course, for them to make the release of the blood, there has to be cuts made in the skin. And that kind of caught me off guard a little bit. But all credit to the brother. He didn't really pre-warn me, and I think that was part of his kind of natural way of just bringing it on rather than making me feel a little bit tensed up. Because if somebody says to you, right, I'm going to cut into your skin right now, it might suddenly make you feel a bit tense up. Because I wasn't aware, I was as relaxed as can be, and suddenly I could feel little sharp cuts going into my skin, and there were multiple cuts made on my skin, which to a little lesser sense was a little painful. But, you know, no pain, no gain, they say. So I guess, you know, you have to receive that. And people ask me, brother, what was the aftermath of the cupping? What did you see as a benefit? And I can only speak on my own experience, because I think everybody is in a very different predisposition. I don't know what kind of lifestyle you lead, how healthy a lifestyle you lead or don't lead, what kind of condition you're in, what underlying health issues you have, because I know when I spoke to the brother prior, I had a quick little consultation with him. He did ask me several questions about what I wanted, if I had any pains, any issues with my body, and I said, alhamdulillah, I don't have any major concerns or injuries or anything like that. I just want the basic hijama done, which is the back, by the way, and I think there's several pockets of blood that are drawn from the back, and we had a brief discussion, and from there, you know, the process didn't take long. The process took about maybe half an hour, 40 minutes. You know, he goes through the whole process with you, gets you on the bench, relaxes your body, gives you a quick little massage to ease the whole area and get the circulation of blood to be centralized in those areas. And of course, he puts those cups on there, and alhamdulillah, when the blood is being released, and I got to see my blood, and having witnessed a lot of videos of people showing their blood, I generally got the feeling that my blood is going to be black, it's going to be thick, it's going to be dirty, because I've never had cupping done before. I've never had blood taken out of my body. So besides the odd bleed here and there, never really had any blood taken out. So I wasn't kind of aware of what I was going to see. So when the brother did eventually kind of like take the cups off, he showed me the blood as I was laid down, and to my surprise, alhamdulillah, the blood is very reddish, pinkish, and as pure as can be. And that was really surprising for me, because when I looked at it, I smiled and I thought, alhamdulillah, you know, it's a good indication. And he said to me, look, alhamdulillah, your blood's very, very fluid, very relaxed, and very clean, which was a good thing. And he said it's all credit to the lifestyle that you lead, because obviously whatever you're doing, continue doing it, because it's obviously having bearing on your blood. And brothers and sisters, the lesson of the moral of the story is that if you live well, you look after yourself, you know, it reflects in your blood, and that's a sign of the state of your health. And to my surprise, you know, of course, I was expecting a lot worse. I was thinking, you know, what am I going to see? You know, it's going to be black, dirty blood coming out of there, because I've never, you know, got rid of blood in my body or anything like that. So, alhamdulillah, it was refreshing to know that having such a lifestyle, living a certain way, eating a certain way, and drinking whatever you drink, you know, water, etc., has had that impact on my body, that it's maintained that healthiness. Never smoked, never drank anything inappropriate, you know. So it's about having that clean living, and and of course, after having the cupping, I'll be honest with you, as soon as I got off there, I was feeling very dizzy, very, if I'd have stood up, I probably would have fallen down. So I had to sit down for about 5 or 10 minutes just to kind of get my bearings back. And I was advised that, ensure that you drink plenty of fluids. Now, my personal experience, brothers and sisters, I'm sharing with you, again, this is not normal, but I unfortunately picked up a few colds along the way, and I was trying to link that ill feeling to the cupping, because the Monday after, I had cupping done on a Sunday, and the Monday after I was like, I had a high temperature, I had a bit of a cold, runny nose, and I was thinking, you know what, that cupping might have exposed something about me, the fact that maybe it made my immune system a little bit more vulnerable. So I did a bit of research. I was reading around cupping, impact on the body. Does it make your immune system weaker? Does it kind of, does it cause any flu viruses or anything like any kind of symptoms like that? And I just want to read some of my findings for you. So those of you that might be listening out there thinking about cupping, I would highly recommend it, as I'm going to talk about some of my experiences and aftermath of the cupping. So here I looked at the immune system. How does it impact the immune system? Does it really impact the immune system in any negative way? And from my findings here is that, look, the cupping process increases circulation of immune cells. Okay, so what does that mean to you? The macrophages and K cells. So the circulation of immune cells, that's good. That's a positive thing. Boosts local immune surveillance. Helps clear inflammatory waste products, reduces chronic low-grade inflammation. And inflammation is a massive thing amongst our community, amongst a lot of people. Again, inflammatory waste products, because we've got a lot of waste that might exist in our blood. So when you release that blood out of that body, you're getting rid of all those toxins, you're getting rid of all that bad blood that's inside your body. And if you can imagine that negative bad blood that's constantly flowing around your body, it might be the reason why you have different issues going on in your life, fatigue, tiredness, feeling weak all the time, lack of energy, etc., etc. It could be one of the reasons. I'm not saying it's the reason, I'm saying it could be one of the reasons. Another benefit of cupping, of course, is the pain relief. And one of the questions that I was asked by the brother, that do you have any existing pain? Is there anywhere in your body that you feel pain that you want to be targeting? So if you had any issues around your neck, back, shoulder, migraines, joint pain, fibromyalgia, pain coming from muscles, tendons and ligaments, if you suffer anything like that, you can target the cupping to address some of those areas. And some of the mechanisms, and some of the benefits of the cupping is it naturally increases the blood flow in your body, speeds the blood shuttling around your body, which is key, because when you need that blood to get around all of the various organs and what have you around your body, pumping from your heart. Releases a tight fascia, reduced nerve sensitivity, and anti-inflammatory effect. And detoxification also, wet cupping, which is what I had, removes all stagnant blood, as I mentioned before. And I'm just going to touch on something there when I say all stagnant blood. All stagnant blood in the body is considered bad because it can lead to various health issues. It is believed to impede the nourishment of tissues, organs, causing pain, inflammation and chronic conditions. So it's really important that we do try this once in a blue moon, in a lifetime, what have you, because even if you're not doing it consistently, at least if you do it once, you will inshallah see some benefits internally within the systems of your body. Again, high free radicals are unstable molecules that can cause damage in your DNA, leading to cancer. So when you're removing those free radicals, it can minimize the chances of you gaining cancer in your body. High inflammatory mediators, heavy metals. This also reduces metabolic stress to the body. So your hormonal and nervous system regulators. So cupping decreases cortisol, the stress hormone. So when you have an increased cortisol, obviously it impacts the way you feel, the way your blood flows, the way your heart beats, and sympathetic overactivity, muscle tension. Because one of the things that the brother was doing before he carried out the hijama was that he just tried to understand how my body was feeling at that time. So through the massage therapy, he wanted to understand how the flow of blood was in my body, how relaxed my body was, Was it tense? Was it tight? Due to obviously the tension in your muscle, maybe due to sort of stress or high cortisol stress hormone that's been released in your body. So we can see that there's a lot of benefit from it from a scientific point of view. Even here, if we look at the microcirculation, improved blood flow, cupping can increase circulation by up to 200%. Breaking micro adhesions, improving oxygen delivery, enhancing nutrient flow. So when you're eating the food that you're eating, your body is able to absorb the goodness from the foods more efficiently, more effectively. Because why? Now the blood is circulating a lot more effectively through your system. It's like cleaning out your pipes, so the blood shuttling through. And when I say shuttling through, it's going through very quickly, transporting all those nutrients around those key areas that the body needs. And there's multiple benefits here, and my list goes on and on and on. And I'm just not going to go through any more. But no, sorry, I will touch on another one here. Skin, and there's so many benefits in terms of if you have any disorders on your body, like if you have eczema, acne, any dermatitis, so any skin conditions that you may have, the process of cupping can actually benefit that as well. By reducing local inflammation and blood flow, increasing the blood flow in those areas. So okay, let's understand it as a Muslim, because why do Muslims get cupping done? Because obviously it's from the Sunnah, and we know the Prophet ﷺ, he encouraged the Ummah to get cupping done. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith that indeed the best of the remedies you have is cupping, and that's from Surah Sahih al-Bukhari. And there's also a narration here, which is a very famous one, which I also am aware of, is that the Prophet ﷺ, when I did not pass by an angel on the night of ascension, that means Isra wal Miraj, except that they said, "Oh Muhammad, order your ummah with cupping." So if you're a Muslim and you're listening to this show and you've never done cupping, then I urge you as a brother to go and investigate and have a look. And many of you may have already done, because maybe I was a bit of a late starter in life, and I always get told that you ask if you always was a bit slow in life, but I eventually get to my calling in life, and I hope that I have. So yeah, alhamdulillah, some of you are a bit more on the ball and you will turn things around a lot faster. Unfortunately for me, I got there in the end, and I think it's something that I want to share with you that I thought was important. And obviously, as the Sunnah says, it goes on to say here, cupping is strongly recommended. We know, of course, it's from the Sunnah. It's also seen as prophetic medicine, and it also has spiritual and physical benefits. As we know, science, sports, there's always sports personalities out there that are doing cupping to enhance and increase their performance. But there's also spiritual benefits here as well. And there's also recommended days of the month that you should have, i.e. the 17th, 19th, 21st, or the lunar months. Also, there's narrations here around the benefit for the health. Of course, as I mentioned to you before, headaches, back pain, fever, poisoning, anything like that, general health, strengthening of the body, these are also useful benefits for that. And the spiritual benefits, you may ask, okay, what kind of spiritual benefits do we get from that? So scholars mention here that the cupping has a means of calming the body, calming the soul, because the soul is something that we tangibly cannot see and feel. So we don't know how the soul is impacted by that. But here, according to some of the scholars, the soul is also calmed. It reduces the humours that cloud the mind. So sometimes when we release this bad blood, in the aftermath of the cupping, I was sat there feeling very clear. There was no fogginess in my brain. There was a sense of clarity. I could think very clearly. And you might say, well, brother, it might have been a placebo effect. Maybe, Allahu Alam, Allah knows best. But I'm saying from my own experience, maybe the fact that I was laid on my stomach for about half an hour, when I got up, I suddenly felt the world spinning around me. And when I sat down and calmed down, I started to get things into perspective a bit more clearer. Helping with concentration in worship, removing harmful substances. Look, brothers, we live in a society where we know intoxications are a massive issue. You only have to drive around Bradford and you can smell the weed in the atmosphere. So many people are consuming this type of recreational drug. Alcohol is a massive thing as well. And where do you think these substances go? They stay in that body. They impact that body. That soul is restless because these intoxications it's harming the body. It's harming the spirit of the human being. Removing, as I mentioned, removing harmful substances, aligning the body and mind for worship. And when you think about it, brothers and sisters, why were we created? We were created for the sole purpose to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we don't feel at ease with ourselves when we are worshipping Allah, then we should look upon some of these ailments. We should look upon what the benefits of such things are. And we should translate those benefits into how it makes us a better worshipper. Because this was interesting when I was reading this, because these things did not come to the foremost of my mind. I was thinking about, and I'll be honest with you, I was thinking more about sports and performance, how it will make my body feel more agile, more physically fit. And I did see benefits in that. After my little bout of cold and flu, I did feel, when I was hitting the gym, I did feel a lot more agile. And interestingly enough, I felt stronger. I felt lighter. Even though I felt lighter and kind of more flexible, I felt strong as well. I didn't lose any strength. So, and I don't know, maybe that was a personal thing to me. I don't know what your experiences of cupping. I'd be very interested to know. So when I post this video, I'd like you to share your after effects of your cupping. What did you experience? What did you see in yourself, feel in yourself? Because only you know what you were like before and what impact it had upon you. So just going further on with this whole Islam and how it promotes, how cupping promotes, cleanses the body, reduces inflammation, and this is obviously something mentioned before, strengthens the health, balances the internal systems, enhances physical resilience. And that sums it up, brothers and sisters. That's my little piece there on the whole issue of cupping. And I want to move on to my next subject, if I may. Okay, and I know, of course, Maghrib time is not far away. I think Maghrib is about 3:50 or 3:50, or just maybe before 3:50. So I will be breaking before then. So I want to try to cover as much as I can in the remaining time that we have. And there was something else that I wanted to speak about. I know the last time I did a show a few weeks ago, I spoke about the rights and responsibilities of the husband to the wife, and how some injustices that are taking place in our communities from the husbands not fulfilling their duties towards the wife. And when I posted this, as much as there was some truth in there, I think I got a lot of response from a lot of brothers that felt that I needed to do something in the defense of the brothers. Now, I want to make one thing clear here, brothers and sisters, that when I give these lectures or these presentations, my intention is never to expose any particular gender in any way or to point the finger at anyone. I think accountability exists. We have a responsibility to account each other. You have a responsibility to account me, and I have a responsibility to account you. And I think the beauty of the ummah is that we know from the hadith of Sallam that accountability is very important. That we should be a mirror of our brothers and sisters. That what we want for ourselves, we want for them. And what we see good in ourselves, we should, want to see in them. And if we see something wrong, then we try to address this in the best possible way and in the most appropriate way. So today, my point is not to attack the sisters here, because I don't want this conversation to be, a kind of battle of the sexes, so to speak. We know here in the West that there's always this gender inequality issue going on. And we need to understand first and foremost that as a Muslim, our position should come from the Sharia, not from society. We don't take society's template. We don't take the lens of liberal societies, secular societies, and we don't say let's judge how we judge our community and our genders according to what they see is equality and inequality. We look at equality and inequality according to the Sharia of Allah, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He is a lawmaker. He is the most wise and the most fairest and the judge of all affairs. And according to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, we see how we as Muslims should treat our wives and our husbands. So this is a conversation to both genders, to my brothers and my sisters. And may I also say on the onset as well, that I have been reached out by some of the brothers who have told me their stories about their issues and their situations. And may Allah make it easy upon you. May Allah make it also improve your relationship with your wives. Because ultimately, brothers and sisters, we are here to create harmony in our homes. We are not here to create dysfunctional families, because men and women, brothers and sisters, when you reach an age of maturity, and I don't want to sound condescending here, because this is something that obviously applies to me, and when I give advice, it's advice that I also apply upon myself, before anybody thinks that well, what makes you kind of judge and jury. I'm not here to be judge and jury, and nor am I here to present myself as some kind of benchmark or some kind of on a higher pedestal or anything like that. No, I am probably worse than many of you out there, so I'm trying to educate myself and educate you in the same time. That look, when we are on this platform of marriage, remember, it's about creating stability in the home. And I put a post out, and some brothers rightly made some very, very, very constructive comments about the importance of creating a healthy home. We are so fixated on creating this healthy body and mind. We'll invest in personal trainers. We will, adhere to, hard challenging training regimes, and we will push ourselves to attain this body beautiful. Be it a sister, be it a brother, and we like to display our results, on our social media pages. But how much do we invest in our relationships? How much do we invest in our marriages? How important is our marriage to us? Because if you're raising families, brothers and sisters, what do you want to project to your families? And I'm asking you this question. I'm not here to critique you. I'm not here to say, oh, you wife, you need to be a better wife to your husband. Oh, you husband, you need to be more, implementing Islam upon yourself and upon your wife in the correct manner. Look, the shaitan has an objective in this world. He is here to create disharmony, dysfunction, and destroy any home that Allah has blessed. And I always say this to my wife, if we have a fallout, that look, the shaitan has won today. He's achieved his goal. The shayateen that have come out, they've accomplished their mission. They've made me and you fall out. They've made you hate me and me hate you. You've made derogatory remarks at me, and I've made derogatory remarks at you. And what have we achieved? We've got our children upset. They obviously have kind of looking at us and thinking, look at my parents. Look at the example they're setting. And that has to make me really think about raising my kind of game a lot more in my life, in my household, within my relationship. And as much as I'm dedicated and committed to the pursuit of excellence in my physical performance, I also apply the same mentality to my home and my relationship at home, and how I am seen by my children. And probably, no doubt, my kids will say, yeah, my daddy shouts, he does this, he does that. Yeah, I'm not perfect. I'll be the first to address myself publicly here on a public platform and highlight my flaws. But, it's not about just highlighting your flaws, but it's also about recognizing and being a leader. And being a leader is creating a vision in your home. Creating a vision in your home is also about raising your game. So sometimes you can be 5 steps ahead of everybody else in that house. Your wife's having a bad day. She has a go at you. Okay, so what? Let her have a moment. Sometimes I remain silent. I don't say anything. My son might look at me and think, oh, Dad, look at Mum. She's just spoken to you like this. Are you going to take it? Look, that's fine. I'm a man. We are built differently. We are armored plated pecs. Why? Because things bounce off us. We don't let things impact us that easy. You know what I mean? And the nature of the woman is very different. And my son's laughing at me whilst he's watching me, whilst he's doing the video. But that's fine. So we are not designed like the woman. And the fitrah of the woman, the nature of the woman, is a lot softer. Some anyway. Not all women are soft, but I will say, just carry on, please, if you don't mind. Yeah.
That will be the last recording after this.
Okay. So anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted there, about raising our game and understanding the nature of the woman and the way she is, and working with her, not against her. Because again, I said from the very onset, I don't want to make this make this conversation about, us finding the flaws in our wives, but rather I think we need to look at the premise of our relationship. What was it built on? Did we meet each other according to Islam? Did we nurture and build a relationship on Islam? Or do we build it upon some emotional reaction? Did we just come together because I saw my wife, potential future wife, and my wife saw me and she fell in love with my physical presence, and she saw my abs and thought, wow, look at my husband to be, he looks so great. And you looked at your wife and you saw how beautiful she looks, and wow, she's amazing, I want to get married to her. And it was a very superficial relationship that you were attracted to each other. But beyond the physical element of the relationship, did you really understand each other? Did you look into each other's kind of practices? What's our position in terms of Islam? How much of a Muslim are we? How do we practice our Islam? The values and the ideas that we carry, are they built on Islam, or are they built on secular kind of values, on societal values? Because these are dangerous ideas. Or are they from more of the Indian subcontinent traditional values that also can erode our Islamic viewpoints? So look, brothers and sisters, this all comes into the mix before you even embark on this journey. And throughout the journey of marriage itself, there's going to be multiple issues that you're going to have. But the question becomes, is that when you have an issue, how do you address it? Do you address it from Islam, or do you address it via emotional reactions? Oh, I'm angry today, I'm in a bad mood, and she's got one over me, or he's got one over me, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be just as vindictive, and I'm going to do something else over him. And that creates a poison in the house that just flourishes. And you water that poison every time, and it gets more and more intense. Sometimes, when you have an incident, you should reflect upon your own behavior, reflect upon yourself. And you might say, oh yeah, brother, I might do that, but my spouse doesn't have that kind of way of thinking. It goes back to, brother and sister, I would advise you to go back to fundamentals. Build your Islamic aqaliyah and naqliyah. Build your Islamic shakhsiyah. Build your personality. Build your emotional intelligence in line with Islam, because this is where it all starts from, brothers and sisters. When we don't link our emotional intelligence to Islam, then we link it to what benefits us. Oh, he's not treating me right, I'm not happy about that, so I'm gonna not cook his dinner today, or I'm gonna be really nasty to him, or I'm gonna go off with the kids today and I'm not going to let him spend any time with... this is vindictive behavior. This is behavior that's not from Islam. And we need to take account of ourselves, and we need to ask ourselves, what is the premise of our relationship? If my wife is acting upon some other benefit or some kind of interest, her parents are asking for this, her parents are asking that, or my parents are asking me to do X, Y, and Z, that's making me neglect my family home. You have to put all these responsibilities into context, and you have to look at them with an Islamic set of lenses, not from the point of view of, well, I'll put my traditional hat on today that allows me to think as a traditional Pakistani man, or a Bengali man, or an Indian man, or an Arab man, or whatever it is that your tradition influences you to do. That's dangerous, because now you're not using Islam as a criteria. Now you're using some other thought process to act upon. So it's about my pride now, because I feel that my wife or my husband has kind of has taken away one of my rights, or I feel they've kind of stunted something that I wanted, and I'm not happy about that. And we don't have patience with each other. We are very quick to fire the arrow. And I think sometimes maturity also plays a big part, but I think also it's what your environment harnesses around you. What have you witnessed growing up? Who are your role models? Are your parents practicing Islam? Did you come from a home that was built upon Islam? There's many issues, brothers and sisters, here. The hole is very deep when we really delve into it. And when you marry somebody, brothers, look, you don't click your fingers and think your wife is going to be adherent to Islamic principles from day one, because suddenly you want your right, and your wife needs to submit to your right, because it's her obligation to do this. When her Islamic personality is not built on Islam, she doesn't understand the depth of her responsibilities and your rights. But here you are wanting your rights. Here you are speaking to her in a harsh tone, saying that these are your obligations, in a black and white tone. Understand the nature of the personality. Understand where he and she has come from. Do a deeper dive before you marry, because if you want your Islamic rights fulfilled, then ensure that you are marrying somebody built upon Islam, not built upon a love marriage or an arranged marriage or whatever it be. Ensure that you both have come from the right position to ask for those rights. And ultimately, it's about creating harmony in the house, protecting each other, safeguarding each other, not hating on each other, not always trying to find an angle to get one over each other, because that's not a healthy relationship. That's a toxic relationship, brothers and sisters. And I'm not here to judge your personal relationship, because I don't know what is going on in your household, and you might turn around and say, well, brother, my wife is this, or a sister might say, brother, my husband's like this. Look, I'm not here to commentate on your relationships. I'm trying to give you a very holistic view of how to create and engineer a healthy home that your offspring will benefit from, a healthy home that your offspring will walk away and develop their homes, because they've seen a blueprint of success. They've seen their parents build and create a harmonious environment. Of course, every home has its moments. Every relationship has its moments. We know from the stories of the Sahabas and the life of the Prophet ﷺ, there were difficult times for the Prophet ﷺ with his wives, when they had challenging times, when they were going through hardships, and when they were being questioned about X, Y, and Z. There's a famous example of Umar radiallahu anhu, when one of the Sahabas heard the wife of Umar shouting at him. And Umar bin al-Khattab was known to be a very, very powerful individual, very strong, very harsh at times. But of course, we know from Islam he became softer. And when the Sahaba heard this, and I'm not going to say this word for word, but he was surprised at what he witnessed. And when he spoke to Umar bin al-Khattab, he said, look, my wife has rights. She has frustrations. She wants to take it out on me, Sometimes as a man, we listen and we don't comment. We don't say, we just listen. We let them, get whatever they've got on their minds off and offload. And my wife often will say to me when she has a go at me that I'm offloading on you, Asif. That's why I'm having a go. And sometimes you just you've got to understand the room and understand the person that you're dealing with, and know what state of mind that person is in that time, and brace yourself for what is to come. And that's part of relationships. It doesn't get any easier. I'm going to try to wrap up this conversation because I know that Maghrib is approaching very soon. Of course, and like I said to you, brothers and sisters, the objective is very important. I can quote you hadiths about the rights of the husband. The hadith here, your wives have rights over you and you have rights over them. That's, of course, clear cut. When, you feed them, you clothe them, you provide them sustenance, you provide them a house, they will obviously then look after your house, they will look after your children, they will raise them in the right culture, right environment. These are really important. But like I said to you, brothers and sisters, the key thing is, you can't just come from a place of non-Islamic practices and then all of a sudden you start to apply these Islamic principles upon each other when you never have. You've got to build them in your home. You've got to have a contractual agreement between yourselves about building yourselves. Not destroying yourselves, building yourselves, brothers. Brothers and sisters, when you're together, the journey of a marriage is about, both of you learning and sharing that learning and growing from that learning together. That you understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought you two together as a unit to build your families, to create a halal environment for your families, not an environment of hate, not an environment of negativity, not an environment of toxicity. And we see how Western culture is failing in the institution of marriage, and we should be the light that shines upon the dark communities that we see. We should be the light that should be standing high, showing them the model of a healthy Islamic home. And that is something that we have a responsibility to do, brothers and sisters. So that is upon you. And if you're a sensible man, or you're a sensible wife, woman, sister, then you should take this upon yourself and think about the husband, your future husband to be, or your future wife to be, who is going to nurture your children and give birth to your children. So we need to think about these things in detail. And ultimately, you've got to respect each other, brothers and sisters. You don't respect each other, then that relationship is dead and buried before it even starts. I apologize. I've not been able to get through this in detail. I hope that I have done some detail to it, or given some context to it, and I hope that I have given you some food for thought. I may try to address this subject later on, inshallah, but I know it's Maghrib time and it's time for us to break, inshallah ta'ala. So on that note, I would like to end this show. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.